Hey kids, so it's Tool Tuesday and we're finally getting to the drill. I know that it's been a while and everybody's kind of been waiting for it, but I wanted to kind of build up to it because you needed to know about sockets, because you also use sockets with your drill and the different pieces. We haven't got to the screwdrivers, but I think, I can kind of introduce screwdrivers a little bit, or at least the tips and what they are called. And I'm going to put together a series of smaller videos, and I'll string them all together showing how each piece works. So I'll clear my table and show each individual piece. But before we do that, you know the drill. I got a dad joke for you. Bonus dad joke, right? Well, I was going to tell you a joke about a drill, but I thought it was too boring. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so before we even get into the cordless drill, I wanted to show you what I've had this for probably 25 years, I think. And this is what we used to use. You can tell it's kind of, it's been used. But, and so this is kind of the concept here, right? You're going to deal with these jaws here that are going to hold your, whatever bit you're going to put in there, okay? And so kind of how this works is you can hold it down and see how those are opening up inside there. And then if I flip, it's a reversible variable speed, okay? And that's what most cordless ones are too. So you can, if I put it on reverse and I hold this chuck right here, I can go like that and you can see that it's actually tightening, okay? So it's all the way tightened. Now if I flip the switch and I do the same thing the opposite way, I can open those back up, okay? So we're gonna do that with the cordless drill. So back in my day, this is kind of all we had. And then you would put your bit in here, okay? So open it up a little bit, put that in there, hand tighten it, and then you'd have on your cord, you always had a chuck key, okay? Sorry, I'm fighting it here. You'd have a chuck key, and then you'd have to tighten it down. So you go like that and tighten it down, okay? And then you'd want to go, I was always taught to go around it. I don't know that matters, but now you're good to go, okay? So I just wanted to show you something for comparison. And like I said, this is a variable speed, which means if you hold down the trigger lightly, I can go a certain speed, or if I put it, okay? All right, so that's that. Okay, so here's the drill that I would recommend for most homeowners, because it's around $100 and it's served me well. I've had it for, I think, 1.5 years. And the battery, the big part of the quality in a cordless drill is the battery. If you go too cheap, the battery won't hold a charge after a while and you'll be frustrated. So I would highly recommend you spend, again, it's $100. So yeah, so I think you'll be happy with this drill. It has 2 speeds, a 1 and a 2 right here. The 1 is for speed and then the 2 is for torque. Don't worry about that too much. I just basically leave it on 1 for most jobs. If you're just drilling a hole in sheetrock or whatever, you can get by just leaving it on 1. I hardly ever take it off of 1, okay? And then if we're gonna add a bit to it, okay, actually let me show you this first. So there's this collar right here, this inside collar, and it has a series of numbers on it, 1 all the way up to where it's got a drill bit on it, okay? And when you're going to change your bit, remember how I showed you that corded drill, how you had to change the bit? Kind of similar, but we're gonna, you won't need to actually use that chuck key to tighten it down, and I'll show you what you need to do. So you're gonna hold this, and then you're gonna, let's see, I gotta get it tightened enough to where it'll actually open. Okay. So you have to keep turning that. Did you see that? I kept turning this inside collar so that this thing would actually open. So now if I hold this collar here, and I'm running it at 13 right now, the further down you go, it's easier to hold it. Yeah, so let's just put it at like 11. So now I'm going to hold it. I'm just holding that lightly, and see how the jaws are opening? Okay, and again, it's a variable speed too. Okay, so now we're gonna put this is the bit I almost always use. I just leave this bit in there because it's a Phillips head, and it's got a good point on it, so it fits most of the screws that I usually use. Okay, so now I'm just going to put that in there, and then I'm going to push this button, okay, the forward button, and then I'm just going to hold this right here, right? I'm going to hold it and see, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Anyway, the jaws are closing around it, okay? See that? And then I just hold this. And if I put this on a lower one, it's really easy to hold this. The further I go up, though, it gets harder and harder to hold that. If you go all the way up to the drill part, it's really hard. I don't think you can even, yeah, I guess, well, it flipped down. Yeah, you can't actually hold it at the drill, unless you're stronger than me. Maybe you can. Okay, so, and I'll show you what all those dials are for other things, but if you're trying to put a bit in, you're going to want to dial this down a little bit so that you can hold this. And then now I just put it on reverse and I'm holding it. Not quite enough. I need to dial it up just a little bit more. Yeah, so that I can actually get that thing to come apart. Okay. Okay, so that's the basics of it. Now we'll walk through all the other pieces. I realized I should have showed you the battery too. So, right, so the battery pack is right here. And all you do to change the battery is you just push down on this button here and slide it out. Okay, and then this one here, it's been charging, so the light's actually red when the battery needs charging. Actually, let's go ahead and pop this out. I'll pop in this one. You'll see that the light actually flashes because it's being charged. This one was fully charged, that's why it had the red light. So then now all we do is we just take that and we stick it here and slide it right in. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put in drill bits. Kind of the same thing. That once you understand how to add your different bits, it's fairly easy, and there's so many different attachments that you can use for different jobs. So first we'll just start with so you have wood drill bits and then you have metal drill bits. Okay. And the case is the cases are tough to open, at least for me. Maybe not for you, but they are for me. Anyway, so, and you can see that I've actually lost or broken. A lot of the smaller bits get broken if you're not careful. So I've managed to hang on to most of the other bits, but it just happens, right? I managed to hang on to all my metal bits. These are metal, and then these are for wood. They're just designed a little bit different, so when you pick them out, so I actually put wood drill bits. I just ended up writing that right on the side. Okay, so basically the same thing again. This is a 1/4 inch. I'm gonna put it inside, let's see, so I wanna put it on a lower speed so I can hold this, and then all I do is I just stick it inside there and I just kind of hold on to it while it tightens it around it, and then I hold on to it, and now it's in there. And then now if I want to drill, for drilling, you put it on that drill setting, okay? And then you'd be good. If you needed more torque for some reason, where you're going through metal with a metal bit, then you put it on 2 and just kind of take it slow, okay? Slow through. Whenever you're going through metal, you want to take that slow, okay? So, all right, so that's that. Okay, so we got our piece of wood, my trusty piece of wood that I keep using. I'm going to show you how to put a screw in, okay? So this is just a Phillips head tip, like I showed you. And then this, I showed these screws before. I use these all the time. They're just sheetrock screws. So if you go in looking for sheetrock screws at the hardware store, you should be able to find them. The nice thing about them is they got a nice coarse thread on them, and they tend to hold pretty well, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put my bit back in. Again, just kind of hold it like that. It's set on 15, so it might be a little hard to hold it. So, all right. So now I'm good. And let me show you this. So this is one of the cool things about how it ratchets out. And this is one of the things you'd use this setting for. Okay, so let me make sure I don't go into my table here. Uh-oh, I'm gonna go into my table. Let's go from the top then. So I'm just gonna go here, and I'm gonna drive down in, okay? And all you have to do is just kind of hold it. Okay, now I'm going in. Okay, see how it ratcheted out there? Let me do that again. The bit got a little hot there. Let's see. Okay, so if I put it here, and if I ratchet this thing out, watch, let me just show you this. I'm going to go to a smaller setting. So I just messed with the setting a little bit. I'm going to put it like at a 5, okay? And let's see what happens. Once it starts trying to drive it, it'll ratchet out. See that? It's ratcheting out because you need to tighten this up in order to get it to go. So we're going to go up to, let's go to what is that? A 9, okay? Ratchet it out still not quite strong enough. Let's go up to an 11. Okay, it's still not quite sunk, so we might need to, and what I would normally do on this is I'd actually take it, come back a little bit, take it out, and then drive it down. Still not quite flush, so let's go all the way up to 15. See, so that's pretty flush right there. So that's what we do for that. So let's take that back out. Okay, so that's for a basic screw like that, okay? Okay, I'm going to show you a different kind of screw. This I've showed you this before when I built my bench. It's a coated screw and it's meant to go outside. You'll see this for decks and that sort of thing, but the nice thing about it being coated, they drive in a lot easier than those other sheetrock screws. And it comes with, see how it's got a star on it? It actually comes with the star bit. When you buy the box of these, it actually comes with a new bit every time. So I have lots of these bits. They're kind of nice for that. So let me just show you real quick. So you could stick that in here just by itself. That's one way to do it. And then you can stick it in here. You kind of just hold the top because the top doesn't have any threads on it. Okay, so that you don't hurt yourself. And we're going to drive it down. It's on like setting number 12 right now. Let's see if it goes through. Not quite, pretty close. Okay, let's do it on 13. And so the nice thing about that setting is it keeps you from over sinking it. See, so it kind of ratchets out where you're at. So, okay, so that's one way to do that. Another way to do it is like this, but it gets a little wobbly. So I'm going to do it here. I'm just not going to drive the thing all the way in. You can actually use a bit holder like this. This one's actually meant for driving sheetrock screws because the nice thing about it is it's got a sleeve on it. So it can actually, yeah, I don't have my bit here, but you can, so you put the screw in. It's not going to cover this one up completely, but you'll see. So it'll actually go there and cover it up so that it'll hold it for you when you're driving in the screw, okay? Okay, so this is the bit holder and it's kind of nice. It's got a sleeve on it, okay? And then the nice thing about this is that you could, if you were going to put up a bunch of sheetrock, I don't have a sheetrock, so sheetrock's 1/2 inch, and you'd probably want to go into the stud about 1 inch, so you'd probably use like 1.5 inch screw. I don't have one on me, unfortunately. This one's about 3/4, I think. So watch this though, it's kind of cool. So it's got a sleeve that actually comes out on it. Okay, see that? It's got a sleeve that's actually coming out right there to help hold that screw, right? And then you just put that in. Sometimes you have to play with that a little bit to make sure it's seated in there good, okay? So we're gonna do that. So that guy's there, watch this now. So you just put that here. I got that sleeve holding it for me. Right, pretty cool. So, and then see how it went down a little bit? It kind of sunk down a little bit. I might want to adjust that. So you might play around with that. If you're doing sheetrock, you don't want it to sink through because then it'll go through the paper and then it's not really holding good. So that's another nice thing about that setting. You would adjust that, maybe play with that a little bit, right? Back it off a little bit so it's not sinking through, and then you're going to town, just kind of going around and setting those screws in. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull that out. Okay, And you can also stick, so this, I just put a different bit in there, right? I put a screwdriver bit, put that star back in. So that's another way to drive this too. I'm not gonna go all the way in because I don't wanna go into my table, but I am gonna just kind of hold, see how I'm holding the part with no threads, and just kind of helping it get started. I could slide this down too. It's not going to cover the whole drill, but okay, again, I'm not going to go all the way through. I could show you on the side of this, but everything gets kind of wobbly since this screw is kind of long. Okay, so I think that's that for that. And then the nice thing about this bit holder too, if you were gonna, you can do add all kinds of these tips, right? And this, so you take this tip out, stick in. You know, if you're putting together something from IKEA, if you've ever done that, and it's an Allen wrench, and it's 6 hours later, you're still cranking on that Allen wrench, you can stick one of these in. You know, find the right Allen wrench that goes in here. You put it in your tip, and you're in business, right? That'll be a lot quicker. That'll speed things up. So, and then this has Phillips head, and that's what all these are. They're just different variations. Here, let me turn it around. Different variations of a Phillips head. A Phillips head is just the one with the plus, right? If you don't know what that is, right? So those are just different thicknesses that'll work with different screws. And then these are just considered flatheads, okay? And I always, when I pick a screw, I avoid flatheads at all possible, if at all possible, because if you go to stick this guy in here and you put it here, and you have a flathead that you're trying to pull out, this thing, you're fighting it all the time trying to get that out of there, okay? It'll slide off and everything. With that extra cross piece on a Phillips head, it stays in a lot better. Let me show you another trick too, really quick. If I was just going to use this tip, a mistake a lot of people make is this: when you're trying to unscrew a screw. So let's just say this guy's down inside here. Okay. And you want to get it out. Okay. The tendency is to want to, you put the drill in reverse and kind of help it out. But you actually want to push down and let the screw do the work. Okay, so you're pushing down to make sure that stays inside there, and then just letting the drill do the work. Okay, I know I used to do that when I first learned how to use it. I tended to want to help the drill, but you actually want to push down and let the screw do the work and work itself out. Okay? Okay, so remember when we put that this bolt through, we stick the bolt in, right? And then we had the other pieces here, and we put that on here, and then we put our locking washer on, and then we put our nut on, right? So let's go ahead and do that again. And then this time we're going to use our drill. Okay, so with your drill, you can get these different adapters that'll hold a socket. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that in. I got it on 13 so that I can hold it. Again, if I tried to do it at the drill part, I couldn't hold it. If it was, I could go lower too, but yeah. Okay, so I got my 1/2 inch socket. I'm just gonna put that on there, and then I can go ahead and probably even hold this hand tight for now. So I'm gonna put that on there. And so there's what's called deep sockets. This one isn't a deep socket, so it's probably not going to quite make it, but it'll get me close. See, it can't quite get there. So now all I need to do is I'm just going to hold, let's see, hold this side, go from this side, and see how it ratcheted out, okay? Which is good because everything's tight. You can see that my lock washer is actually flat. It's down, so we're good. Okay, so now we go to remove it, kind of the same thing, pretty easy. You just put it in reverse, stick it on there, and then, oops, I need to tighten that up a little bit. Okay, and now it's just working its way off. Okay, you can see how that would speed up putting together furniture. Like if you're ever putting together a dining table or anything, a lot of times you're using sockets or wrenches, and a drill will help a lot with that. So okay, yeah, let's show you the lag bolt now too. Kind of the same thing. We had that lag screw, you know, technically it's a lag screw. A lot of people will call this a lag bolt, but it has a point on it, so it's actually a lag screw. Okay, and that was here. Let's see which one. Yeah, that's too loose, so it was this one. And let's go ahead and put a washer on so it doesn't go in too far. I'm going to go here. I just kind of hand tighten it to get it started. Okay, and then I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to drive it in. Actually, let me turn this down so you can see again. If I turn down that ratchet, it's not going to quite get it. Okay, and so I keep tightening it up a little bit more. There you go. Yeah, it set it just where we wanted it. Okay, I wanted to show you this real quick too. I forgot all about this. So somebody had asked what my thoughts were on this. It's some new product that supposedly is, you know, you can use it for a lot of different applications. It seems okay. It seems a little bit hokey in my opinion. So basically I'll show you what it does is you can use it for multiple sizes. So we put that on there. It was about $15, I think, and you could buy a ratchet set, a socket set for about $30 or $40. So I would say just get a ratchet set. But anyway, so the principle is that these little beads or these little holders adjust to whatever size you're going to put it on, right? So it'll adjust. It'll go. It says it goes from 1/4 inch to 3/4, or 7 millimeter to 19 millimeter. And basically all it does is when you push it in, it just holds it. So, you know, it might work for some things. I think long term, it's not something I would use because again, it's around $15 anyway, and a ratchet set, a full ratchet set would be, you know, about double that, but that's not a whole lot of money. So basically I'm just going to do this. So it does work. Again, just not something I would recommend. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use some of these bits here. So let's start off with just a wood bit. Okay, a little wood drill bit. We're going to stick that in here. And again, we're going to move that up to the actual drill part. Okay, and you just stick it here. Okay, nice and clean. I have a piece down below that I'm using just to protect things, right? Okay, so that's that one. Okay, so this is called a hole saw. I have this one too with less teeth, and I feel like this one does a better job. Okay, I think those were a little cheap, but anyway, so let's go ahead and put that one on, take it off the drill so I can hold it, put it back on the drill. Okay, so now here's a trick. So when you're drilling this, okay, you want, see how it's got a nice clean edge there? You want to flip it over and come from the other side. If I don't, I mean, there's two things that'll happen here. So if I don't care about this wood and I hold this tight and I go through, it'll be a clean edge on the other side. But if I don't hold it tight, it's going to tear that out. So you want to flip it over and come back from the other side. Okay, so that's that. You just kind of got to brush it off now. Okay, but it would have tore out here if I wouldn't have done that. Okay, if I wouldn't have flipped it over like that, it would have tore out. So anyway, that's how you use that. And then sometimes it can be a bit of a fight to get that piece back out of there. So there's a couple ways you can pop this out. The way I normally do is I just loosen this. Okay, and then you can just work that up and it'll come out. Okay, or if you're good, then you just kind of do it lightly and work your way back the other way, and then this won't get stuck in there. But that's one way. Okay. Okay, so this is what's called a speed bit. kind of similar to the hole saw. I don't know that they come out quite as clean as the hole saw, but I'm just going to show you what those do. So I'm going to pick out a 1-inch. Okay, and then I'm going to put it on the drill again, drill setting. And then the best way I've found is just to go ahead and hold this tight, right? Put another piece under that I don't care about, and I'm going to put that on. Okay, and then I drilled through. Here's another tip I wanted to show you. It's called a countersink, and the nice thing about it is when it goes in, it puts a little groove right there so that your screw head will kind of just sink down inside. So let's go ahead and show what that looks like. Okay. Okay, see that? It's got a little hole for the head to sit in. Okay. Here's one other kind of cool, this is kind of a luxury, but it's a L adapter that if you need to reach around a corner, kind of cool. You can put that guy on there, and then now you can actually drill with around the corner. So I thought I'd show you that. I only had this for one application. I just couldn't reach, and so I ended up getting it, and it was kind of cool to be able to reach around the corner and use that. So anyway, I thought I'd show you that as well. Okay, so I've showed you a lot of different ways you can use a drill, so hopefully that gives you the confidence to go ahead and pick one up. They'll come in so handy. You'll be surprised how many different ways you can use them. Besides what I've showed you, there's probably other things that I've left out, but at least this should give you the confidence to try it for yourself. And then if you get one, then you just get better and better at it because you'll learn the settings, and pretty soon you're not even thinking while you're adjusting those collars to change bits. It just happens naturally. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on Tool Tuesday, and God bless you.